What if you could build an entire website just by talking to your code? Today, I'm diving into GitHub Copilot, the free AI coding assistant, to see how far I can go with it. My goal? Create a full website that teaches touch typing from scratch using Copilot's suggestions and chat interface. You'll be able to see the final result live. Just check out the link in the description to explore the hosted site yourself. Stick around to see how I set it up, what worked, what didn't, and how you can do it too. I'll share my experience and tips along the way and summarize everything at the end. Before jumping in, I created a folder called Code and added an empty file named myfirsthtml.html. If you want to follow along, make sure you have Visual Studio Code installed and a GitHub account ready. I open the HTML file in VS Code, click the Copilot icon at the bottom, and selected Set Up Copilot. Then I signed in to use Copilot for free. It redirected me to GitHub where I authorized Visual Studio Code and completed the setup. While this was a 3-hour vibe coding session for me, you'll see the entire project from start to finish in minutes. Let's hit the fast forward button. To test it out, I typed Create HTML Page, and Copilot instantly suggested a full HTML structure. I hit Tab to accept the suggestion, and it generated a simple page with the message, "Welcome to my page." I dragged the file into my browser to preview it locally on my Mac. You can also double-click the file to open it in your default browser. Next, I switched to using Copilot Chat. I asked it to change the text color to blue, and it updated the code accordingly. You'll see green lines for added code and red lines for removed code, just like GitHub. You can accept or revert changes, which we'll explore more later. It's very intuitive. Now that I've tested the basics, I told Copilot this site is meant to teach touch typing and asked it to update the code. I clicked Apply in Editor, but accidentally applied the previous blue color change again. Scroll down, applied the correct code, refresh the browser, no change. Turns out I hadn't saved the file. After hitting Command-S and refreshing, the page updated with a new message, "This is a touch type tutorial." Copilot chose the text and style itself, which was helpful, though not exactly what I had in mind. I reviewed the code options and chose to keep all the new changes. I asked Copilot to start with the letters F and J, the easiest keys to reach when your fingers rest on the home row. On most keyboards, these keys have tactile bumps to help you find them without looking. I requested a random string of F and J letters, an input box for typing, and a success message. Copilot generated the code and explained it clearly. I applied it, saved the file, and tested it in the browser. It worked perfectly for correct and incorrect inputs, but the letters were uppercase. Since uppercase requires shift or caps lock, I asked for lowercase letters instead. Copilot updated the code, I saved it, and now the string used lowercase f and j. Next, I wanted users to press enter to submit their input because touch typing is all about keyboard use. I also asked for a next button to generate a new random string without refreshing the page. Copilot set the string length to 8 characters. I asked it to start with 8 and increase by 4 each time next is clicked. I added spaces to the string since they're important in real typing and easy to hit with your thumbs, but I got incorrect results when the string ended with a space. It's invisible in the browser. So I asked Copilot to ensure the string ends only with F or J. Still not ideal. Multiple spaces were hard to see. I refined the request to allow only one space at a time. The default input box and buttons looked plain, so I asked Copilot to style them. Without specifying a design, It chose a simple but clean look. I liked it and kept it as is. I wanted to move beyond F and J, so I asked Copilot to add a parameter to the generate random string function. This way, I could pass in any set of letters. I tested it with FJ, worked fine, then manually changed it to KD. Initially didn't work, but after refreshing, it did. Not sure why it failed at first, but I'll figure it out later. I asked for a timer to measure how long it takes to type the string correctly. It looked good and worked as expected. Time to level up, literally. I asked Copilot to create 3 levels. Level 1, F and J. Level 2, F, J, D, and K. And Level 3, F, J, D, K, S, and T. Each level builds on the previous one, and since I used arrays, it's easy to tweak later. The levels worked well, though I asked Copilot to revise the titles. I wanted the timer to start only when the user begins typing, for more accurate results. It didn't work at first, and I realized the issue. The string started with a space. To fix it, I asked Copilot to avoid starting strings with spaces, same as how I handled spaces at the end. Sometimes I had to manually select the file to apply changes, even with only one file open. Clicking Active Editor, my first HTML.html solved that. Having both Submit and Next buttons felt cluttered. I asked Copilot to move to the next string automatically after a correct submission. If the input is wrong, the user keeps trying, and the timer keeps running. The next button was still there, so I asked to remove it completely. I wanted the input box to be focused when the page loads or refreshes. Also, the timer should only run when the input box is in focus. It worked, but started counting immediately, so I asked Copilot to wait until the user starts typing. Now it behaves correctly. I also asked for a correct message to display until the user starts typing the next string. But I didn't want that message to appear when switching levels. After testing, everything worked well, except the timer still showed the previous level's time. I asked Copilot to reset the timer on level change, and now it's working exactly as I wanted. Even though I'd already asked Copilot to remove the next button, it was still showing up. I asked it again, and finally it disappeared. I wanted to track how long it took to type each string correctly and calculate the average time per level. To make testing easier, I temporarily set each level to complete after just 2 strings. Copilot showed only the previous level's average, so I asked it to display all previous levels' averages on screen. After completing all levels, I asked Copilot to show a fireworks animation and a congratulations message. But I noticed the final level's average wasn't being displayed since there was no next level to trigger it. I asked Copilot to fix that, and it worked. I wanted users to practice full sentences using the skills they'd learned. The first attempt didn't behave like the random strings from earlier levels, so I clarified that the practice sentences should follow the same logic. I asked Copilot to add more sentences like "Hello World," but it only gave me 1. After asking again, it added multiple sentences. Then it started showing congratulations after each practice sentence, which wasn't what I wanted. I asked it to fix that, and now it cycles through practice sentences properly. I ask for the timer to start when the user begins typing in practice mode. I also noticed that the practice level still showed the same intro text as level 1, so I asked Copilot to update that. To make this site more flexible, I asked Copilot to use a constant for string length. I changed it from 8 to 5 to test, and it worked. The congratulations message was overlapping other elements. I asked how to fix it, and Copilot suggested a semi-transparent overlay. I liked that solution and applied it. I wanted the site to remember the current level and average times using local storage, so users could return later without starting over. It didn't work on refresh, so I asked for a fix. Even after that, it showed the wrong level, so I asked again. And again. I will check it again later. I added a reset button to start over from level 1. I also asked Copilot to focus the input box after reset for smoother UX. Refreshing the practice level page didn't return me to the practice level, so I asked Copilot to fix that. Twice. Eventually it worked. I also asked not to show average times after a reset. At this point, I hit my free quota for Copilot Chat and couldn't use it anymore. So I switched to inline suggestions to remove the average text after reset, and that worked fine. I made more inline changes, like fixing the timer. I moved the reset button to the top and renamed it Start Over to make its purpose clearer. I finalized the letter sets for all levels, changed the string length back to 8, and increased the required attempts per level from 1 to 5. I used Microsoft Copilot and Edge to double-check that I hadn't missed any important characters for touch typing. Then, I manually added more random practice sentences to the code. I also added an inline jump to practice level option and started solving issues like input focus myself. While reviewing the code, I found and removed a duplicate function. To summarize, building this touch typing website from scratch with GitHub Copilot and Visual Studio was a great experience, but it definitely required a lot of hands-on effort. I had to request each feature individually and test everything to make sure it worked as expected. I really like the flexibility of combining chat and inline suggestions, but I did hit my free quota pretty quickly. I tried another tool that built everything at once, but it got the concept completely wrong. So even though Copilot took more time and effort, I preferred it because it gave me control and clarity. I'll upload the finished site and share the link in the video description so you can try it out, and maybe even learn to touch type yourself. I've got plenty more ideas for features I want to add, and the site's far from perfect. Feel free to drop your suggestions in the comments, share your experience with GitHub Copilot or other tools, and let's vibe on coding together.